Hello, let's look at the life cycle of Ancylostoma duodenale, which is also called as Ancylostoma intestinalis, while its common name is Old World hookworm. Now, why is it called as Ancylostoma duodenale, intestinalis, and an Old World hookworm? Let's understand this with the help of a diagram. Over here, you can see that there is a male and a female. So, much like Wucheria bancrofti, it is also a dioecious organism, meaning that it has a male and a female. And these organisms are also very different from each other. You can differentiate a male from a female because this male has a very peculiar thing over here, which is called as genital bursa. So this balloon-like extension or umbrella-like extension of posterior end of a male, it is called as genital bursa or copulatory bursa. Let's look at this in a bit of a detail. Over here you can see that the posterior end of male is extended into a balloon-like structure, but that balloon is also split in a tripartite fashion. Two spicules are coming out of this bursa and there are rays present in it. These are two lateral in position and one dorsal in position. The lateral rays are 5 in number, 5 each, and the dorsal rays are also split in a tripartite fashion, which are 3 in number. So in total, we have 13 rays. Now, why is it important for us to understand the structure of copulatory bursa? Well, because it is of taxonomic importance. You can differentiate one hookworm from the other with the help of this structure. Moving forward with the mouth, we can see over here that the mouth has a buccal capsule and teeth over here, much like how we humans have teeth. So mouth is in anterior in position and it is directed dorsally. So this dorsal directed direction of mouth is the reason why these worms are called as hookworms. And these are called as old world hookworms in particular because they are found in the old world countries. For example, the European countries, India, Africa, which is different from the distribution of, let's say, Nicator, which inhabits America. Right. So we have a mouth which has a buccal capsule and teeth. These teeth are spiny and knob-like. So you have 4 spiny teeth and 2 knob-like teeth. Now these teeth are also very important because they help us differentiate one worm from another. Because Nicator has a different sort of arrangement of these teeth, while this Ancylostoma duodenale has a different distribution of teeth as well. Now let's look at this picture. Over here you can see the spiny teeth. And over here, a much better picture, you can also see that these teeth are very spiny, right? Anyways, let's move forward with the life cycle. So here you can see that something is entering the body through foot. So there is the percutaneous entry of L3 or Fillariform larva causing a ground itch. So something is entering, a worm is entering, a larvae is entering. You will notice a ground itch, which is, as the name suggests, very itchy in nature. Very irritable, very itchy. Then this L3 larva reaches blood in about 24 hours of its entry. From there, it reaches the right ventricle, from right atrium to right ventricle. From right ventricle, it goes into the lungs through pulmonary artery with the blood that has to be oxygenated by lungs. Then through lungs, it reaches alveoli, trachea, and pharynx. And through pharynx, it will get swallowed and reach esophagus and ultimately small intestine, and that to the ileum of small intestine where it lives. It is different from the territory of Taenia solium because that lives in the jejunum part of small intestine. And Ancylostoma duodenale, it lives in the ileum of small intestine. It feeds on blood, lymph, mucus, etc. It is usually white in color or very pinkish in color, but when it ingests blood, it gets reddish in color. Moving forward with the life cycle. After it has reached intestine, it undergoes 2 molts to transform into an adult. When it has become an adult, copulation happens, that is aided by genital or copulatory bursa, which penetrates the vulva of female. Fertilization happens and eggs are passed with feces. Now these eggs take about 24 to 48 hours to transform into a Rhabditiform larva, or the first juvenile, which is about 250 micrometer in length. Over here you can see that the Rhabditiform larva has a buccal cavity. It has an esophagus, a bulbous esophagus, an intestine, and an anus. Because of the big buccal cavity, it feeds ravenously, it grows in size, gets transformed into L2 larva, and finally into L3 larva. Over here, you can see that this has a very big buccal cavity through which it feeds ravenously. Moving forward with the life cycle, it transforms into L2, then into L3, which is called as the filariform larva. And the filariform larva, its mouth is closed because it does not have to grow anymore. It has to penetrate the feet or maybe other portions of body so that it can inhabit the small intestine. So it does not feed when it is outside the body. It is 0.5 millimeter in length, so you can see the differentiation because of the fact that Rhabditiform larva has a big buccal cavity. It feeds ravenously, it grows in size by quite a lot. It is not quite big, but it is big enough to observe with naked eye. Then this L3 larva, when it comes in contact with feet, because it is lying in the ground, right? And let's say someone is walking barefoot and it comes in contact with feet, it penetrates with the help of oral spears. So that's how the life cycle is like. L3 larva, when it finds bare feet, it penetrates, reaches blood, right ventricle, then with the help of the entry in pulmonary artery, it reaches lungs, alveoli, trachea, pharynx, esophagus, small intestine, and the whole of the cycle continues. Now notice that it does not need an intermediate host, which is very different from Wucheria bancrofti, which had Culex as its intermediate host, or maybe the Taenia solium, which had pig, right? It does not need a vector. It just penetrates on its own with the help of oral spears. Let's look at the pathology. So ankylostoma causes ankylostomiasis. It is important for us to understand this because ankylostoma has a very peculiar distribution. It is found in the tropical region, in subtropical region, and also temperate regions. Right now, about 25% of the world population is affected by this Ankylostoma duodenale. Because of the migration of larva, groundage happens at the site of penetration. It is very itchy, very irritable. Then with the further migration, you can see a reddish papule formation. Over here, you can see that the L3 larva is penetrating and surrounding it, the region is reddish, looks very itchy. And here you can see that a papule has formed. With further migration into lungs, it causes pneumonitis and bronchitis. And when it finally reaches the small intestine and the adult is inhabiting the small intestine, it causes dyspepsia, vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, and epigastric pain. Dyspepsia is the feeling that you are bloated all the time. It is the vomiting and all the discomfort that it causes. And if the worm is left in the small intestine long enough, it causes protein energy malnutrition, which is very bad, along with iron deficiency anemia. That is because of the fact that it ingests about 0.15 to 0.25 ml of blood every single day, which is quite a lot considering how much blood we have. And it also interferes with iron, B12, and folic acid absorption. So it is important for us to understand that when someone has ankylostomiasis, we usually are concerned with the iron deficiency anemia, and you cannot just give the patient anything, because most of the anti-helminthic drugs that are given to treat anemia or to treat the hookworm infection, it they might cause they might cause iron deficiency, and that is very very difficult because the person already has anemia. Anyways, that was about it, and thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you